What's up, guys? I've got a pretty exciting team here today. I've made my first level 50 Pokemon, Talonflame, and I really wanted to make a team work around it in either Open or Premier. Surprisingly, I've actually made this team work in both Open and Premier, so a little bit lucky with that. But let's get into some gameplay video, and I'll be able to explain more about how this team works and the thought process behind it. And as usual, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. Couldn't be doing this without you guys. Let's take a look at this video. Putting this team together, we take a look at Gengar and Talonflame. They actually have a lot of similar matchups, and both of them form a very strong core with Obstagoon. So Obstagoon Gengar is a very classic core in both Great League and Ultra League. Obstagoon Talonflame, well, that's a new core that remains to be seen. But they both theoretically work very well together. So very similar team building style to the last Swampert Scrafty video, Swampert Scrafty Skarmory, where you're kind of making them think maybe it's Obstagoon Double Ghost or something like that. But also the Gengar does bait out a lot of the correct stuff for Talonflame. So you do play it like an ABB team, even if it doesn't look like an ABB team. I mentioned before that I also have had some success in Ultra League Open as well with this team. There'll probably be a video to come on that in the coming days, but those battles just concluded, so it takes me a while to put that stuff together. But yeah, so Talonflame, very interesting Pokemon. It took me a long time to get used to the longer turn timer, I guess. Longer fast move. It's 5-turn fast move as opposed to some of these shorter fast moves. You can't really catch moves anymore. You can't really it's very easy to get your moves caught, stuff like that. But it does function. It's very similar to a Charmer, where you kind of do want to save your shields for Talonflame. You want 2 shields up on Talonflame at the end, and you just flame charge everything down and burn it all to the ground. So we can see this match. We've got the Ampharos. Ampharos is versus Obstagoon. I decided to no shield this. I felt like they were going to bait since I got the boost. But in reality, I really should shield the first one anyways. So normally I would be switching out here to Gengar at some point, but because I got the boost, I stay in. So they bring in their own Talonflame. And unfortunately, Talonflame is a Pokemon that this team doesn't really have a really good answer to. So because I'm boosted, I'm going to take advantage of it and get as many of these Night Slashes through as I can. If you notice my timing versus other Talonflames, you want to be throwing 2 counters or 7 counters before throwing. Pretty important. Because of that, I'm able to get to this Night Slash. If I did this improperly, this Talonflame ends this matchup with a ton of energy, and I actually likely lose this game. But luckily, I'm running Sludge Bomb in the Ultra League Premier version of this team, right? Gengar is a safe switch. There's a lot of Snorlaxes, so to avoid them, you need to run Sludge Bomb or Focus Blast. I tried a little bit with Focus Blast. I know some other people are running this team with Focus Blast, and they're succeeding, but I did not have any success with Focus Blast. People just weren't taking the baits. People were shielding the Focus Blast. I just couldn't get anything to land. I don't want it to be 50-50. I want to be able to take down that Snorlax with 2 Sludge Bombs. So in this case, I never played Obstagoon versus Talonflame lead before. This is the first time ever, so this is me learning the matchup. And it's not a really good one. In hindsight, switching out probably the play. I get the boost again, which is one of the reasons I stay in. But you're going to see that even with the boost, you can't beat Talonflame in the 2 shield as an Obstagoon. So, because it wins CMP. So that's with me throwing my moves at perfect timings. If you let an Incinerate through this, it's not even close. And I got the boost, right? So I'm coming in with my own Talonflame. And this was a bit of an interesting choice, but if I could get it down within 3, then I'd be fine. The problem is that they have this Empoleon to come back in. Shields are down, so if it was anything but Empoleon, I would be able to easily take it down with a Brave Bird. Any non-steel type. And all the other steel types would have been taken down with a Flame Charge. So really, this was the perfect Pokemon to come in and absorb some of that energy. So, unfortunate for me, well played by them. And my switch was a little bit slow, or I could have gone to that Shadow Punch, and then who knows what happens versus their backline. So this match, we've got Obstagoon versus Umbreon. This is where you want to see it. And they bring in the Alola Ninetales. I remember this game too. So you can tell this is one of the first sets I played with the team. don't know the matchups. So my goal here was to kind of farm, like I wanted to farm more before throwing a flame charge, like right here, because I thought they would no shield. But once I let 2 weather balls through, you actually lose the 0 to 2 shield as Talonflame. So I have 2 flame charges stored up, but so Alolan Ninetales is going to be able to win switch, and they needed to win switch for a reason, right? If they're fighting that hard to win switch, it's going to be incredibly difficult to win this game. And unfortunately, I know I can live a weather ball, I decided to no shield this as well, and this is where it kind of all starts falling apart. Right, no shield 2 weather balls, because I feel like Goon has to sweep. I don't know what I expected in the back, but it's a Charmer. Yeah, pretty bad team read on my part. I'd see, like, if I'd noticed it was a fairy type, could have been able to read it as a double fairy. But yeah, so this is just getting used to Ultra League, getting used to the team. We're going to see some more good sets and good plays coming up. That's for sure. Dragonite lead is very hard. This is a Pokemon that kind of breaks the core of Obstagoon Talonflame, as well as Obstagoon Gengar. It kind of just beats all 3, but not by very much, right? So you can still take these Pokemon down. The goal here was to tank a Dragon Claw, and then switch into Gengar, farm down. But I was already at the Night Slash, so because they overfarmed quite a bit, I figured I would throw it, and then now we switch into Gengar to farm down, right? I can spend my shield here. Dragon Claw does a lot more damage to Gengar than it's to Obstagoon, and fortunately, we see the reason why you might want to be running Focus Blast in Great League in the first place. But you get to 2 Sludge Bombs. It's a little bit of a different story. So we're going to be able to take out that Shadow Snorlax. They did not want to spend a shield, and it ends up being a pretty disastrous decision for them. Venusaur comes in, and I'm just going to Flame Charge right away. That Dragonite's very low, so an Incinerate, Boosted Incinerate should be able to take it out, and they know that, so they're shielding. At the same time, Sludge Bombs hurt quite a bit, so they bait me and win CMP. Sludge Bomb. And this Flame Charge, I undercharge a little bit, but it doesn't really matter too much. This Dragonite's not going to get to a move. So Talonflame able to carry this game with a shield. So and that's the thing about Talonflame. The tough decision you have to make is whether you want to play with shields up or down, because with shields down, yeah. So this is me powering my Talonflame. That first set we didn't even have a max Talonflame, so it's not going to win CMP versus other ones. Now we've got the max Talonflame. It's powered up. It's my first level 50 ever. Time to show its power. Yeah, so if you guys were looking at the CPs, you would have noticed my Talonflame is nowhere near that, or was not at that 100 at that time. So able to still pull 3 wins out with an underlevel Talonflame. And then we have an Abomasnow lead, so good lead for Goon. This is also great for my backline, right? So I switch out, because if I don't switch out, what's going to happen is my Goon is going to have to be able to take down the Swampert, and it just won't be able to if it's too damaged. So I just get these Shadow Punches off. I just want to start dealing some damage. I don't mind if my Gengar goes down. They actually, I think, undercharged that a little bit, so well played by them. So the goal here is to drive this Hydro Cannon and just take down the Swampert. I'm fine letting stuff through. I just want shields up for my Talonflame. And they let that through, so that's a big deal. I'm going to be able to keep shields up, and they were saving shields for the Charmer, right? So one advantage here with keeping shields up is a lot of other teams that want to keep shields up are Charmers or Razor Leafers, and Talonflame shreds both of them. You're not going to see Razor Leafers in Ultra League probably, but if you did, Talonflame would wreck them. And then same thing here. This the player makes a very nice catch onto his Abomasnow, but at this point in time, Talonflame is pretty boosted, and those Incinerates really start to chunk, and I'm going to get to that third Flame Charge as well. So it might look like these Charmer matchups are a bit tight, and they are, but what happens is they have to spend a bunch of shields. You end with a huge amount of boosts, and you can usually farm down for some energy for the next Pokemon as well. So if someone switches in a Charmer, Talonflame is really good at taking advantage of that. But then again, so is Gengar. So we have the Goon lead. Obstagoon wrecks the backline. And by backline, I mean Gengar. It's not very good against Talonflame. But for that reason, we can't really switch out, right? We can't switch into Talonflame. If they switch out, it might be matched up against Gengar in the back. So we both get moves through. And then I assume that I win CMP because my Obstagoon's IVs aren't very good. I just realized the IVs in my graphic are incorrect. Dude, I'm sorry about that, guys. This Obstagoon is a Hatch IV Obstagoon, and the Gengar has pretty good IVs, so those would be very representative. The Talonflame is also a Hundo, but I just realized I hadn't replaced them from the last graphic, so sorry about that. Updated everything else, but I missed that. So in this case, switch into their Clefable, and it doesn't really matter. So yeah, their backline also extremely weak. I actually decide to let the Clefable live. I'm a merciful man today because I wanted some farm, so I can just take out that Tangrowth. Rock Slide from Tangrowth does an absolute ton of damage to Talonflame. I don't know if it takes it out, but it would be very close. Next game here, we've got a Roserade lead. Backline is amazing versus this, so let's get right out of there. And my opponent is lagging. So I wait up a little bit, but at the end of the day, it really sucks for them. And you hate winning this way. But, I mean, I'm not going to intentionally throw a game at that point. The thing is, you can't stop attacking right when they do, because a lot of the time it is visual lag. Oh yeah, isn't this is the game where Gengar sweeps an entire team? Maybe? No. No, it couldn't be. Couldn't be, not with a Kingdra. But yeah, no, for me, this didn't make a lot of sense for them staying in on the lead, even after that disadvantage. You'd think you'd want to switch out if you got the Kingdra for the Gengar. Or maybe they weren't there and they were AFK and they didn't see that I had actually swapped out of that lead in the first place, right? Because I swapped into Gengar. But if they'd missed that and thought I was a Gengar lead, the play makes a lot more sense in hindsight. Anyways, back to real games. Here we have another Obstagoon lead. Obstagoon pretty strong in this meta with all the XL Pokemon. And in comes Shadow Gyarados. So, a bit of a tough decision here. Obstagoon might be my best answer for this Pokemon. But what I like to do when the Gyarados is the lead is to throw a Night Slash, take an Aqua Tail, get out, and start the farm. You'll likely have to shield one versus the Gyarados, but the amount of farm you can get is a pretty big deal. And even against something like Obstagoon, as long as you're not running Shadow Ball, these Sludge Bombs really hurt. And Obstagoon has to throw energy to take you down. So I'm going to get to the second Sludge Bomb even. And this Obstagoon is very low. It has to throw energy, otherwise it's going to get farmed down by Shadow Claws. So either I could go back in my Goon, or I could get this rolling with Talonflame, and you're going to see a lot of this happen, where you switch into Talonflame and they just quit the game. Because at that point they know that the rest of their team can't deal with it. Next game, we're going to see a Swampert lead. This is where you love to see the Swampert. It beats the back line, so the goal here is to deal as much damage as possible. You can win the one shield even without a boost. Same with two shield, I think. Especially if you're getting fast moves through. Just because of the counter damage. Tank one Hydro Cannon. But what I've started to like to do is swap out into the Gengar when it gets low enough that you can pressure it with a Shadow Claw. Shadow Punch. In this case, actually let that go through. I really need to save a shield. If I double shield and then lose, we have some issues. And then yeah, so according to the sims I should have won that, but IVs or something, I will get a little bit of a head start with the Gengar, and in comes a Alolan Muck. So this is not what you want to see, the Alolan Muck on your Gengar, but Surfetched on your Talonflame, that's what you like to see. So the only move that can really hurt Talonflame from Surfetch is Brave Bird. At this point, it doesn't really make sense for them to bait, so I'll shield regardless. If it's a Leaf Blade, it's a Leaf Blade. That means I won't be taking any damage. But the problem here is I still have an entire Alolan Muck to deal with. And those counters added up. And we will see if a Sludge Wave one-shots here. I believe it does. Yep. So one of those games where Focus Blast might have been better, but I think even in this game, Focus Blast is not going to save the game because I believe they get to a Dark Pulse before I get to a Focus Blast. So we're going to lose this one. It's tough with a Swampert leads when they also have another counter in the back. And it's tough that I think the IVs ended up losing me that one too, right? Because if I had slightly more defensive IVs, I can beat that Swampert in the lead. I get to line up my Gengar against their Surfetched, and I get to line up my Talonflame against their Alolan Muck, and everything goes much better. So this next game here, so that was a four win set. We just had a 3-win set as well. Lots of positive sets. This game looks like it is taking a while to load in. I might have, yeah, I forgot to cut that out for you guys. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, ugh, I hate when that happens. Yeah, when I back out, sometimes I miss the edit on that. Apologies. We have an Abomasnow lead, and for some reason these Abomasnow leads love to stay in against Obstagoon. It's not a good matchup for them. But a lot of the times these Abomasnow leads aren't coming with something else that can deal with Goon. I'm gonna no shields, or no, I'm gonna shield. Ooh, because I thought it might be an energy ball. No reason for them to bait. And then we're gonna go in with Gengar a little bit slow on this Machamp. They're at 7 now, so they're at the Rock Slide. So we'll see what they want to do here. Shields, because I know I can beat them to the next move, even if they bait. And I see him. I'll go for the CMP tie on the Rock Slide. Get as much damage as I can. They shield as well. So the goal here is to get this Machamp low enough that it can't take out Talonflame with the Rock Slide. So, and that's the other interesting part with Talonflame. Is Talonflame does not beat Machamp. Machamp gets a bait off, you lose. So it's pretty risky. So Gengar comes in. I'm gonna switch into my own Goon. And all they have left is a really low Abomasnow. So that's why I came in with Talonflame. If it is something that's good against Talonflame, I can swap into Obstagoon, no problem. And I undercharge that and let them take me down because I want that energy on Talonflame. Because once that happens, all I need is one more Incinerate and I can get to this Flame Charge. So taking out their Abomasnow in that case would have been a big mistake because this Gengar could have farmed my Obstagoon down with Shadow Claws. It's possible. It takes a lot of Shadow Claws, that's for sure. It's 3 times resisted. You don't often see a lot of 3 times resisted. So Ow Ketchum, this is Ash Ketchum's long lost brother. We've matched up in Go Battle League, and he's hard countered me in the lead, and we got to switch into Gengar right away. Fortunate part here is Electivire charges really fast. I've never seen Electivire before, so I didn't know the counts. And we CMP tied. So I'm going to lose shield advantage here. Unless they shield. Good for me. And then I throw before his move this time. So very important to do this. And the fact that they're shielding so much makes me really think they want a switch. And it's pretty obvious that they do. Because they're running that Machamp into Obstagoon, of course. Yeah, and I'm going to be able to get to the Sludge Bomb here. Oh, this is the game. Yeah, here we go. Gengar sweeps an entire team by himself. He shouldn't be able to. If I was running Shadow Ball, this would have been a very clean sweep. But I think my opponent just wanted the game over. Otherwise, they could have thrown a Drill Run or Aerial Ice or anything. So, Gengar fake sweeps an entire team. And that's Ash Ketchum's brother himself, Ow Ketchum. So, very anime ending here. Gengar pulls through. We don't even get to see the Talonflame this game. Yep, it does make sense that they were shielding Electivire so hard. Electivire, very spicy pick. It's very high rated, but I'm not sure how good it is in practice. So swap right into Dragonite. Like I said, this is a Pokemon that no Pokemon on this team can really beat. So if you switch out right away, you're just going to lose switch advantage. So I am going to stay in. Take a Dragon Claw. Switch out. Get this energy lead. If I get lucky, I don't have to shield. I'm going to say hi, and they are going to come in with Lapras here. So, Lapras, not a great matchup for Gengar, but it is one where Gengar actually does a decent amount of damage. Lapras does have to respect it, And in this scenario, I do need my Obstagoon to take down this Lapras, but we're going to run into some issues. Switch timer is out of sync, right? Because I swapped slow, and they knew that. So I waited my switch timer, but it wasn't enough. And this is what I was talking about the Charmer matchups, right? We're going to Flame Charge. And they're obviously not going to shield. Because they want to save everything for their Lapras. This game is going to be quite tight still. Going to get some more nice Incinerate damage off. More energy. I could have just gone for the Brave Bird here, but that's a riskier play. I think just going straight Flame Charge in a lot of these scenarios is actually better. And that's why it's kind of weird for Talonflame, because you can't really, you're not really baiting at that point. You don't really have a bait move. Everyone knows when you're going to throw Brave Bird or not, unless you're running like a lead Talonflame. Yeah, so we'll be able to take that Lapras out as well. It is a water type, but it's also an ice type, remember. So the Incinerates and Flame Charges are neutral, unlike versus Swampert. All right, this next game versus Joss. We are going to see a Abomasnow lead. This is probably the best lead you can see, just because for some reason they're paired with a lot of Pokemon that that don't really like Obstagoon. Machamp is not one of them. So I do get baited here. But that's the beautiful thing about Gengar, is that your next move is faster than Cross Chop. So I'm forced to shield, but even if I shield, I am able to build up an absolute ton of energy, especially if they don't bait that second time around. We'll see what they have. It's an Empoleon. So super unfortunate I'm not running Shadow Ball, because a Shadow Ball would 100% take this out. And I'd just be able to delete this Empoleon right here. But I'm in a pretty rough situation. Luckily, I'm still able to get all these Shadow Punches through. And they switch. And that's actually my saving grace. Because if they didn't switch, what would have happened would have been I'd have to come in with the Obstagoon after. It's healthy enough, I guess, to tank a Hydro Cannon. So everything is still going fine. And look how much damage this Abomasnow does, though. Talonflame is not as hard of a counter as you might think. I'm able to farm all the way down, but I have to take an absolute ton of damage. Oh yeah, we're going to take out that Empoleon, no problem. This would have just been a much easier game of Shadow Ball. That's all. But yeah, I definitely do miss the full Ghost moveset on Gengar, just taking advantage of its full power, not worrying about any of these baits or anything. Alright, so Kingdra lead. This is another toughie, right? Pretty neutral lead for Obstagoon. You want to get these Night Slashes out as soon as possible for the Octazooka. And I actually get the boost. Normally I wouldn't be staying in this type of matchup. I'd tank an Octazooka and get out. But in this case, they do come in with a Alolan Ninetales, and guess what? I have the advantage now that I have played this matchup, and I know I need to be throwing pretty much right away. If I tank 2 Weather Balls, they can just win back switch. So I see what they're going for this time, right? Because I threw that Flame Charge early. They shielded, they really want switch. But for some reason, I still don't shield. And I think it's due to them not having that hard of a counter in the lead to any of my Pokemon. It's more of neutral matchups, and now I've saved a shield for Gengar for later. And we just really hope this isn't another Charmer team, right? So this time I shield. This time they have no shields, and I have a Sludge Bomb. Or sorry, I will. Fortunately, I throw a Sludge Bomb right away too. So instead of switching, this is what I should have done. Throw a Sludge Bomb, and then we'll see what they have in the back is G-Fisk. So good thing I didn't switch. And it's locked in, so that's why I don't mind switching here too. But G-Fisk versus Obstagoon, pretty good matchup for Obstagoon. This is my first time playing it out in Ultra League, where the HP pools are a little bit different. But Earthquake is still going to deal a ton of damage. And it doesn't quite take down Obstagoon, so if they had managed to Mudshot Obstagoon down, this game would have been extremely tough. but we're going to come back in and be able to take down the little Ninetales. Just a Shadow Claw. There we go. That's a 5-0 right there. So this team proving its mettle in Ultra League Premier, climbing a decent amount. And I've climbed a lot more since these sets as well. So it has shown that it has a lot of play in Ultra League Premier. Venusaur lead. Going to go back in with the Gengar. And they're not switching out, so something is up. I'm going to tank the first move, just in case they do have something like a Snorlax to come in. And it's a Swampert, so I'm actually kind of glad that they did let me farm up quite a bit on that Venusaur. I don't think they realize how much of a big deal Swampert is for this team, but they're trying to set themselves up for a farm down with Mud Shots, which is also quite annoying. But it's not like Gengar is any slouch in terms of damage output. He's probably putting out more damage than Obstagoon is, or would be, while Swampert is getting these Mud Shots. So I don't mind. I think it is a good trade-off for my team. And I'm just going to have to eat a couple Hydro Cannons here. Without the Mud Shots, 2 Hydro Cannons doesn't take you out. And now we have 2 Shields, and they have a Venusaur, and I have a Talonflame. So it's still losable, for sure. But it really depends on what's in the back. I actually just go for the Brave Bird here. They let it through. And because I Brave Birded, I do have to shield now. And this Typhlosion goes down at the perfect time, so I have a decent amount of energy. We don't have to worry about being debuffed here if this Venusaur never gets to throw a charge move. Perfect. Yep. We still have the Goon as well, right? So Obstagoon can probably take down a Venusaur from that HP if they have no shield. And they just... a pretty safe battle thing. Alkiachu, the evolution of Raichu, I believe. We're going to see Gyarados lead, so a little bit worse than the Shadow Gyarados matchup, just because it's a little bit more to farm down with the Gengar, and they will almost certainly get to that move. But in this case, they're actually holding their energy for quite a while. I'm going to get 2 Night Slashes off. I'm curious what they're charging up to. Wondering if it could be like an Outrage, or who's like, what are they running? It's just Aqua Tails. They're just charging up to 2 moves. I knew I'd have to shield one anyways to keep my Obstagoon reasonably healthy. And then now we're going to switch out to Gengar. And they switch at the same time, so that wasn't on purpose. So we're going to throw out 7, CMP tie the Rock Slide. And just throw the Punch. And they're at the Rock Slide, right? So they want to shield. That's fine with me. I felt like I didn't even need to shield there. I was going to save shields for Talonflame. But because they baited me, I know I can take advantage of them now. And just end with a ton of energy on this Gengar. And I'll be able to burn shields back. So a bit of a risky situation, though, that I put myself into. This is kind of why you don't want to go shields down. As if there's a Swampert or something like that in the back. Swampert with energy wrecks this entire team. Yeah, I'm just lucky they're letting me get these Shadow Punches off. And fortunately, we seem to be tied. Unfortunately, they have a ton of energy. So they undercharge as well, but they're going to let me get to this Night Slash and stay in. If they caught, I might have been in some trouble. And I still might be, but they're going to leave anyways before they even see my last Pokemon. Yep, so this team working pretty well. Loving the Obstagoon lead in the meta. A lot of these XL Pokemon don't like it. Abomasnow doesn't like it. Mandibuzz doesn't really like it either. And they swapped the Mandibuzz in, but little do they know, Obstagoon is probably my best answer for Mandibuzz. And Gengar and Talonflame are both perfectly fine answers to Abomasnow. So I'm not too worried about it. The only, like, the main reason we're switching in Gengar is to kind of bait out those dark types that are tanky enough that can beat Talonflame as well. But I love seeing Mandibuzz in Ultra League. This is XL Pokemon for sure. It takes a lot of XL candies to get this thing to max, but I do think it's an incredibly good Pokemon. This one's not even max, right? Could be even doing better than this. My only goal here is to win switch advantage. This Mana Buzz isn't running Aerial Ace either, which is one of the main reasons I didn't switch to Talonflame at all at the end. And we're going to see them come in with their own Talonflame. I throw at pretty bad timing. They could have gotten a free Incinerate through, but they didn't, luckily enough. But unfortunately, Talonflame versus Gengar, it's not great. I'm really just trying to get some damage down on this Talonflame. But they do have a 2 shield advantage now. And I'm going to try and get some of that back. These Shadow Claws. 3 Shadow Punches. 1, 2, and then I throw again, right? And then I'm hoping they let me get some more damage in. 3 more Shadow Claws worth, but the problem is they now have this Talonflame, which is boosted, and if they stayed in and get to a Brave Bird, I'm toast, but they do switch out. And fortunately, look how much damage that Shadow Abomasnow does with a Weather Ball. Can't take another one. I'm just going to boost to try and take this thing down in 2 Incinerates before I get to a move. So we're able to get there. Just get there. And take out that opposing Talonflame. By Talonflame proving that he is the leader of the pack, leader of the flock there in 1v1 combat. Galvantula lead. This is a pretty tricky one, but we do go into Gengar. I'm going to throw it with a Shadow Punch before they get a debuff off. And that's perfectly fine with me. They lunge. Honestly, I'm going to start no shielding Gengar against Galvs. For some reason, they love to lunge, and it doesn't do very much damage. So, definitely worth it. They come with the Empoleon, and unfortunately, once again, I'm not running Shadow Ball. But it is what it is. You have to do it just for all the Snorlaxes. So the farm down is a bit dangerous, the Goon. But I should be able to farm down this Empoleon as well. Just, Goon will take a lot of damage here. But remember, it's not really about the Goon. It's about the Talonflame. And it's a Dragonite, so in this case, I'm just going to stay in with Goon. I'm going to try and deal as much damage before they realize, hey, we don't need shields to beat Talonflame. So I'm going to try and get these little baby Night Slashes through on this Dragonite. They do realize that they can't farm me down without getting to another Night Slash. So this game is going to come down to the wire. It's going to be really tough. Talonflame does not do really well against Dragonite. I do no shield that first one, which is a bit of a questionable decision given the amount of health I have. But I really need to be able to beat that Galv, and I'm 1 HP away. So a bit tough. The Galv did have almost a move bank, so that's why I had to save my shield, and they did the correct thing there. But IVs, they matter. Snorlax lead, this is where you want to see it. And come with Kingdra. So this is a Pokemon I actually have to get out of, right? Because I need to save my Goon for the Snorlax. And because they charged up so much, I actually have to shield because I have to respect the Outrage. And I'm going to shield again because I've charged up to a move on my Obstagoon. Oh no, I'm not going to shield. I'm scared of the superpower, and I actually accidentally let my Gengar go down. So, big mistake from me. We're going to go in the Kingdra and get the ball, in the Talonflame and get the ball rolling. And just hope that this is enough to carry. But with the Ampharos coming out, this is very unlikely. And this is not a game I think I would have won anyways, had I not wasted all that energy on my Gengar. Because I would have needed Obstagoon to deal with both of those Pokemon. And it's just very hard for it to. I'm going to no shield this one, I believe. Because I'm going to need my shield for Snorlax. Superpower. But they still have 2 shields, so. This game is essentially over. Unless I get 3 boosts in a row. Yeah, they're just going to shield him. Well, not quite, but. At this HP, Obstagoon will get licked down by a Snorlax. I get the boost. So I do get the boost, but too little, too late. Yeah, we're not going to be able to win that matchup for sure. I think that was still 3 sets, so 4 positive sets in a row with this team, just slowly climbing up. Like I said, a little bit higher than this now. Yeah, this team has been a lot of fun. It's taken a very long time for me to get used to, whoops, Talonflame. So if it doesn't work at first, then keep trying. But at the same time, it is a pretty big cost to power up a level 50 Pokemon nowadays. So do keep that in mind as well. This Talonflame bankrupted me. I don't know if I'll ever financially recover from it, Stardust wise. And for that reason, that's why I'm taking a look at Open Ultra next. Just because in a ironic turn of events, Open Ultra League is actually the cheaper version of Ultra League now. And Talonflame's still rated decently high there. So actually it's rated higher than an Ultra Premier. So excited to, I was just gonna say excited to try that out, but in reality I've already tried it out. It works pretty well. It's exact team. So I will make a video about it because the matchups are different, right? You don't see the same Pokemon. You see stuff like Melmetal, Cresselia, stuff like that in Open Ultra. Yeah, that's it for this video. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll leave my socials in the description. But as always, guys, thanks for watching.